Today, I'm going to share to you what happens to boys without mentors. Over the 40 years, I come to discover that mentoring is a very vital thing. It's just one of those things we need. Business mentors, we need mentors. I happen to have quite a few myself. And mentoring is without a doubt, to a boy, one of the most important tools. But we have the wrong opinion about mentors and mentoring. One of the things we recognize right away is when he doesn't have a mentor, they search for that identity in other areas, i.e. gangs, groups, different types of peers. They find themselves navigating life in a different way. Even the Bible tells us we must have wisdom. We must listen to wisdom and gain wisdom. That comes from a mentor. It's also important for us to remember, if a boy is not taught what a man is, the streets will teach him what a man isn't. Just a few things you should know. 55% are more likely to attend college, enroll, seek education with a mentor. 78% are more likely to volunteer, get involved, help the community. And 45%, this is huge, is less likely to start using drugs. These things are very, very important. As you well know, our boys have been showing all of these signs in the opposite direction. And so I really want to be clear as to why I'm always talking about the boys matter, because the boy becomes a man, the man becomes a husband, and the husband becomes a father. That's not the formula for all, but it's most definitely a formula. Without a mentor, right? Mentor, father figure, coach, you will find males generally headed in the wrong direction. Now some, they kind of pivot, whatever, but the truth of the matter is and you've been watching this on the nightly news, but it increases the violence, their incarceration rate, and as we campaign often, it increases suicide. It's important for the male mentor, in my opinion, in our work, the male mentor has to be a father. It's just that important. And for example, suicide. Now, when we get into these numbers, it's often seen a different way. But let's be clear. The number one cause of death for black boys ages 5 to 11 is suicide. That's right, suicide. The number one contributor to suicide is the fatherless home. The number one preventer of suicide is a healthy, positive male mentor. It's no different than what's ailing the schools. That male mentor, male teacher is very, very important. Mental and emotional instability. Okay. Excuse me. Mental and emotional instability. Here's our favorite word. Without encouragement, and we use encouragement heavy in our work, boys eternalize failure. Failure is something you can get up from. But failure is something, if you stay down, it could take you out of here. And that's the other part. There are other things that this impacts, how they interact with their peers. We have an opioid crisis. We have a suicide crisis. We've had a fatherless home crisis. We've had crack epidemics, right? Right now we have a foster care epidemic. And we are in the middle of some political unrest by how do I put this? By the government.
One of my favorite quotes till this day: God will put you back together in front of those who broke you.
Mentoring, like fatherhood, when the relationships are harmed, boys without mentors may not learn how to be present and disciplined and emotionally available. We hear women talk about how the men are not emotionally available. They can't have a conversation. But we also hear the men talk about how women don't listen. But our young kids are saying the same thing, our young boys. When you look into the dynamics of what is affecting young boys, we don't have to look no further than the welfare system, right? There are 76 million white people on the welfare system, 16 million black people. And those children are tremendously affected by their environments. So it's no wonder that we see mass shootings and gangs and gang-related issues and all these other things, because it's a heavy carry for a young man. So mentoring is essential to the boy. Now what we have to talk about is mentoring restores identity, builds confidence, and promotes healthy relationships and purpose and conduct. Mentoring stabilizes the young man. We know that when a boy doesn't have his father, a lot of things happens to him. The mentor steps in, and we must understand why the mentor is so important into controlling his identity, because a male mentor represents the identity that the boy might want. So they could literally, I know in our work, we have seen a 98% parental involvement. We've seen our boys increase their number of words from our literacy program, because reading is essential to the boy, and mentors should most definitely read and set the example with the mentee why reading is important, right? The other thing is that the mentor offers a controlled environment that he or she can benefit from. So as we are going through this process, you guys want to stick around for some of the Boys Matter, as we'll be getting deeper into what is happening to the boys. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in to Boys Matter right here on METV. Check out some of our videos. Support us. Subscribe, because we're going to keep delivering great information about boys so we can protect our mothers, daughters, and granddaughters and communities. Peace.